Hey, welcome to the Toadstead. If there's any wind noise, I'm sorry about that. But what you're looking at here is a pile of 2x4s I'm putting together for a client. And I just noticed there's a Winnie one right there that's probably not going to go out the door. But the reason I'm showing you this is right next to this, or actually right in front of this, was the original pile of 2x4s that we milled on our HM 130, basically to learn how to use the mill. And you'll see some other, there's some 1x stuff there, some other 2x stuff, little stuff right here in the middle. That's just all practice stuff, and we had to use it for something. So I'll show it to you in a minute what we used it for. But what you're gonna see goes on this foundation. Now, why is it covered with wood? Well, because if this is a client's, all these 2x6s, that's just one that, well, I kind of like it, and haven't stickered it yet. And this is a couple of, I think these are going to be 2x6s that just haven't been finished yet. Anyway, in a little while we'll have this all cleared off, and what it is the foundation for our solar kiln. Now, we don't, we're not a this is not a rich farm. We're pretty humble around here, and these were some of the very first timbers we cut because we wanted them to sit for a while. As a matter of fact, let me spin around here without getting you sick. And there's one more of those timbers sitting right there that's going to get used on this project. But you can see it's just real simple construction. We took some, we had a hurricane down here a while back, and the electric company went ahead and gave away a bunch of telephone poles. So we cut telephone poles to length, and we put some preservative on on the ends, because, well, the creosote doesn't penetrate all the way through the logs. So we wanted to make sure capillary action didn't come up here and get the water, and there'll be water sitting on top, blah blah blah, some. But anyway, so there is the foundation, and we'll explain more about how it's going to go together in the next video. But it rained really bad yesterday. We were shut down, couldn't do anything. Tried to run between the raindrops and get some done. You can see there's still some junk laying around we gotta get rid of. But let's go see what we made with the lumber that it just wasn't good enough to build proper with. I don't know how to say that. I guess it's not good enough to sell, but definitely too good for the fire pit. And this is what we made. Now, keep in mind, if you're expecting the best building practices and stuff like that, throw that right out the window, because this was scrap, as I said. And what it is the basically 2/3 of our solar kiln that we're throwing together so we can get some of this lumber that we're going to need dried faster. And like I said, this is all lumber that, well, we kind of were learning the mill. So is it perfect? No. Is it supposed to be 2x4s? Well, it's supposed to be. And it's not good enough to use in a home, or, sell to somebody to use themselves. I wouldn't want my reputation out on this. But hey, for our purposes, for this, it's going to work fine. And for those of you who wondered why I'm still living in a construction trailer and built my shop first, this is why. Now, this one is nominally about 16 by 8. I forget the exact measurements, but it's right in that ballpark. And we'll show you the foundation real quick. But we were able to build this, and that's actually easier to build on site than to do it in here. We had one rainy day, and we threw this together. I think when we came in this morning, we had to put those 3 studs in. That was it. It got cold last night, but we monkeyed around all day on a rainy day and actually built this indoors. So let's go take a look at the foundation. Whew. Okay, well, it's the next morning. We after we cut off this, neighbor came over and said, "Hey, you want take a couple of trees off my yard?" Yeah. So for us, think that one's 2 feet, a little over 2 feet in diameter. That one is, and you know, basically trees. And then while I was there, I threw a bit on the mill. We got some more 2x6 12s to make, and well, that'll do it. But here's the kiln. We went ahead and just kind of threw it together, and you can see, well, the sun is bright. The way our little workstation here is starting to shape up. We can see we bring our logs in this direction, drop them, unload them, and if we have the tractor with the grapple with us, fine. If not, we just let them sit there. And the pile got a little messed up. Some of this wood we had to get. This is another neighbor's trees, and hey, you know, little ones are fine. You know, you see Sawing with Sandy do these smaller ones, but sometimes you got to get an order out. That one's 2.5 feet, that one's 2.5 feet in diameter. We need to get some of these bigger ones out. It's much more efficient. You know, if we can go ahead and put one log on the mill and blast out 10 or 15 boards, that's nice. But we were culling through this to do that, and you can see some of the little ones were kind of thrown off to each side. So we gotta fix that. But we've got the tractor with the grapple on it on the property right now. It'll be going back out on a job site on Monday, but we take full advantage of it while it's being here. And one of the things we did yesterday was put that, I don't know, that thing looks like it's about 15 feet long. Someday I'll learn how to measure them in the field. But anyway, so there's the mill. There's our little toolbox, which that's worked out phenomenally. There's so many bits you need while you're doing it. And then the beginning of our kiln. Now the idea is that once we get this thing rocking, what we have been doing is just kind of flip flop, and then finished stuff goes over here or out back, and that's the remnants. We're cutting 2x4s, and as we were making the cant, we just threw those off to rip into 2x later, which we will. But we'll be able to go right from the mill into the kiln. And if we're doing, well, for us, higher production, we've got a set of forks here. Kind of light duty, but I don't know if you can see it down here. There's a whole bunch of 2x6s down there, and we towed them down there to the tractor. This thing will pick up, well, I guess the best way to put it is, I put that one on there. Was it testing the limits of the tractor? Yup. We don't put any weight on the back of the tractor, so you get a log that big hanging out on that grapple. Does little nose wheelies every once in a while. You got to be careful, but it works for us, and we can put the lumber right in the kiln. The kiln will do its kiln thing with any luck, and 2 weeks maybe we'll be able to pull the lumber out and then use it directly. Now, like I said, I think I've said it twice in this video, I made this video in 3 or 4 parts, so continuity, sorry, deal with it. That was all scrap. When we first got the mill, we had some trees we cut them up, just learning how to use it, and that pile pretty much is the remnants of that, and there's a use coming up for that same too. But that's what this is made out of. We just couldn't throw it in the burn pile. It's not really good enough to we're trying to do a good job for people, and in learning, and they're 2x4s ish, but they're not perfect. For this, they should be fine. And we got more work to do. As you can see, the kiln is a little too well ventilated at this point, and we'll bring you back and show you what we're gonna do, just to give you an idea. Right now, we're gonna probably put 2 7-foot-ish doors here, barn doors that'll open up so you can load it. We're gonna try our hand at board and batten siding, which is what that's gonna be. And of course, it'll have a poly corrugated poly roof. Let all that sun in. And we're going to do a cheap insulation job on it too. Some of you who watched this channel before, if you look at the interior of my shop, you get an idea what we're going to use. But it's got kind of a mixture of weird ideas. I can show you this now because it's a little more apparent. Because this floor is going to be greenish lumber, we have done 4x6s on their side and then 4x walls. So the bottom line is that the floor is just going to be 2-inch planks laid in and across, not nailed, nothing like that. You can see how much shrinkage room. Give you a little closer in the corner. You can see the overhang there is almost 2 inches, so it'll sit up on the lip, and as it shrinks, it's not going to shrink lengthwise very much. Wood just doesn't do that, but it's going to shrink. Show you on these. When this beam shrinks, it's not going to get much shorter. We're worried about twisting right now. It's not going to get much shorter, but it's going to get skinnier. So when that happens to our floorboards, we'll just slide them all together and add another one, and eventually the floor will be permanent. But I kind of doubt we'll ever nail it in. And we just got a couple of cast-offs for bracing to hang it, make sure it doesn't fall over. And there was a little bow in this board right here. It's 3/4 of an inch. So we strapped it and screwed it. And once we get the siding on, this won't move. But until then, I was a little concerned that this bowing action might actually rack this wall just a little bit. And with that strap there, nope, ain't gonna happen. So that's it. That's where we are. We're learning slowly, adding to our skill arsenal. We do peanut farming, do a lot of other stuff, and now we're on the cusp of becoming a little woodlot. And just as a teaser, that foundation is still sitting there. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time around.